Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. This is Jared Cowan, and I am really happy to be doing this today. This is my very first podcast. It's a new podcast, what I'm calling On Location, and this is where we take a film, invite some of the filmmakers involved to come and talk about it, but not only that, we're not doing this in a studio, as you can probably hear. The idea is to really go to one of the locations from the movie and talk there. So that's really the whole thing behind this. And today we're coming to you from Midwest Street on the legendary Warner Brothers backlot. It's a gorgeous day here. We're in Burbank, California. And Midwest Street is the studio's sort of idyllic, picturesque town square set, which has been seen in films dating back to the 1930s. I mean, it's been in movies like Yankee Doodle Dandy with James Cagney, Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train. It's been in Rebel Without a Cause, The Music Man, the original Ocean's 11, Cool Hand Luke with Paul Newman. And TV fans will recognize it, of course, mostly from Gilmore Girls, I think, Stars Hollow, Connecticut. That's where we are coming from today. But all that being said, you know, perhaps my favorite film to have shot here on Midwest Street is a movie that's having its 30th anniversary this year, and that is 1987's The Monster Squad. And if you've seen the movie, and hopefully all of you have seen this movie, you'll remember that the last 15 minutes or so of the film all take place in the town square. And my guests are not sure if they've seen it, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully this goes well. I don't know. But, you know, this is where at the end of the film, the squad battles basically all the monsters in the film. And I'm thrilled to be sitting here today with three of the squad members, and I'll let them go around and introduce themselves.
Hi, this is Ashley Bank. I played Phoebe.
And this is Andre Gower, Sean Crenshaw.
And I'm Ryan Lambert. I played Rudy.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming in today, guys. I feel like this is kind of a special thing, right? I mean,
very cool.
Not every day you get to just like come over to the lot.
Not every day. This is awesome.
We're home.
I don't know if I've been in this exact spot since we shot the movie.
Well, I was going to ask you, I mean, you know, of course, over the last 10, 11 years, there have been some reunions, but when was the last time you were all here together?
Here
in Midwest Street?
When we shot the film.
Probably whatever the last day we shot on
sure,
that
yeah,
together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question.
That's awesome. What were your feelings kind of first walking into here, or even in the past years? Have you guys been here individually?
I've driven through here maybe 10 years ago. I don't know if I actually kind of walked around here, but I remember I had some business going and I just drove kind of past it. Kind of knew that it was over there somewhere, but I think I maybe saw the steeple of the church right there. But no, this is the first time I've ever been able to wander around and sort of reminisce.
Yeah, I'd been on the lot after we shot Monster Squad, you know, for a few years, but not in a very, very long time. So I love being on studio lots, and this happens to be my favorite one. So this is cool.
It's a great lot.
Luckily, I don't live far away from it, so I get to see my favorite lot from the outside all the time. But I love driving on, working on lots, being on stages, being on the back lots, New York streets, French streets, whatever that is. It's just it's so neat that not everybody gets to experience. So I grew up going to those things, as we all did. So it's kind of neat.
It's like a time capsule.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on the lot from time to time, even now. But this is the first time that I've really actually been in the exact spots where we shot, and so that's pretty cool.
So, what are your feelings, kind of coming back onto this spot? I mean, when we came around the corner just before, and you see this place, what comes back to you?
I had a lot of feelings. I constantly have a lot of feelings, so it was just one in a number of many feelings. But I was like, oh my god, wow.
I immediately just grabbed my camera and started going, this is where I shot the Wolfman, and this is where I did this, and this is where that happened, and take a video of me doing this. And so, yeah, we were really excited all of a sudden.
Yeah, I actually already posted a photo on Instagram of me reaching for the vortex.
Great. Oh, from the vortex. That's awesome. That's cool.
I think my first feeling was, I'm old. No, older. It's so much smaller.
It is so much smaller.
It feels so
than
felt
I
like,
remember.
You know what, though?
Just everything feels like.
Nothing has changed. I mean, we obviously set decorated the whole thing, but really not much has changed.
Which is
it
kind
pretty
of
much
crazy.
looks exactly as it did when we shot
Except
here.
for the trees. There were no trees.
There was trees, but they weren't as big as
they
these.
weren't as big.
And there was no gazebo.
No
That's
gazebo.
right, we're sitting in
Did
the
they have
gazebo.
We're sitting in the gazebo. There was
Wasn't
no
there
gazebo.
There was like
Like
a
a
statue.
statue.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
statue.
like a Civil War
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of memorial statue of the regular guy. I think it's the same
The
guy
army
in the
guys.
statue that was in the house.
Oh, probably.
Oh man, that's, I mean, when you
That'd be an interesting Easter egg.
when you came to work here, I mean, were you guys? And I mean, I know you were really young when you did it, Ashley. I mean, but were you movie fans when you came on to the lot? And I mean, were you aware of some of the history that happened right here?
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, that's what I
Absolutely
was saying
not.
before. I love you. Ashley's like, no.
I loved
was
movies. I
5.
had no idea.
Yeah.
I certainly was, because I liked, even though I was 13 when we did this, I've been on every lot in LA working or doing stuff, so you kind of get the history of it and understand, and then you've seen those movies, whether it's used to go on any of the other lots, especially Warner Brothers. And what I like about Warner, they have on stages what things have shot there,
Right.
and if you know a little of the history of that just makes it really cool.
No, it's cool. Yeah, you go by stage 16 and it says Ghostbusters,
Right.
the Goonies. All. Oh, I shouldn't mention the Goonies. I'm not
The
gonna-
Who?
I know.
You're on
that
our
was
turf
just-
now, buddy.
That was just.
This
That was
is
just not
our
cool.
turf.
It was instant. I'm sorry.
Actually, it'll conjure up a vortex in a minute.
Yeah, that was-
and suck you right in it.
That was,
No.
Sorry, guys. That was just that was terrible. That was really bad. But I mean.
Oh,
you
the
know,
Goonies. It's okay.
I
They're
know.
they're
Hey,
cute.
Hey,
They're
it's,
cute.
It's a cute movie.
They're
I
cute.
like that movie. Nothing wrong with that movie.
They're cute. Nothing wrong with
I
that
don't know,
movie.
Ryan. I don't know.
Say it,
See,
Ryan.
Yeah,
Do
Ryan's
it.
looking
Say
a
it.
little,
They were cute. They just saved the neighborhood.
Right.
I'm not saying anything this
All right.
time.
Okay.
Not this round.
Not this round.
I've said it.
I'll
I've said
take
it
it.
enough.
All right.
I've said fuck the Goonies enough.
Oh man. All right. All right. But I mean, like, did you like classic films that had shot here? I mean, the fact that like Paul Newman is
Well, you mentioned Rebel Without a Cause, so
Rebel Without
I
a
knew
Cause, yeah.
that when we shot here,
Yeah.
Fred had told me that.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah.
I was super excited being here in that sort of with those ghosts lingering. So also my character is sort of based on that sort of notion as well. So
You're so
it
cool.
sort of helped.
That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, you guys were mentioning Mel Brooks before.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
mean, the church right behind us was Rock Ridge's
Right.
church. I
Right.
mean, that's amazing. I mean, Paul Newman is like knocking over parking meters at the beginning of Cool Hand Luke here. Basically, what sends him to the chain gang
Right.
happens all here. So, I mean, I don't
It's
know.
Headley.
It's pretty cool.
It is pretty awesome.
It's pretty
I
awesome.
mean, it's pretty magical. It is like we were talking about. It's very magical.
Well,
Coming
anywhere
on here,
Paul Newman's been is magical.
or
Yeah,
anywhere James
including-
Dean has been.
Or James Dean.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Newman, especially in the supermarket aisle too. But
Yes.
I mean, that's like,
Fantastic sauce.
I mean, that's
Very,
a
very tasty
magical
dressing.
place too.
Fantastic
Very
sauce.
tasty.
Well, I have I have a 1 degree of separation from Paul Newman. That's really rad for you, because my sister was in the Towering Inferno,
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
and she's the girl that gets saved by Paul Newman. So her and almost 2/3 of her run through the movie is her and Paul Newman escaping the fire. And so I was like 12 months old or something when they shot that movie, and so I was on that set, but I don't remember. I don't
What's
remember.
wrong with you?
I don't
no.
remember.
Paul Newman, man.
You should be
It's
ashamed
Or
of
OJ.
yourself. Wow.
yeah,
okay.
that's true too. I forgot about that. Yeah.
No, it's so much better cast in that movie than mentioning OJ. Boop, let's rewind. Gook, gook, gook.
Yeah. Writer and director Fred Decker, in the commentary I listened to all, the commentaries in the DVD, which is like 10 years ago, man. It's crazy, and he said in that the stuff that you guys shot here was some of the stuff he has the fondest memories of. I mean, do you guys share that sentiment? And if so, what are some of those like really fond memories you have from here?
Well, not only was it like, yeah, because it was the most, sort of epic, scene in the film. It was the finale. So, I mean, shooting, we were here for a while, just shooting
Yeah, how
that
long were
whole
you here?
sequence. I don't remember.
Couple weeks,
Yeah,
maybe.
at least 2 weeks, maybe.
And so, I can see on his level, it was just probably a whirlwind and just super epic for him. I had my, little moments and pockets here and there, but I'm sure he was just like a kid in a candy store,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say fondest memories.
Right.
I would probably
yeah.
say most intense memories.
That
of
happened right
shooting.
over there.
Most
There were,
indelible.
there were two moments. There's the
Most
moment
indelible.
that the big, huge, like 30-foot fan almost like blew me off
Oh,
the
right.
grass.
Yeah.
And then there's the moment that Fred scared the crap out of me with Duncan.
Right.
all
Oh
surprise.
yeah, with Dracula
So-
over there. Yeah,
That happened
Yes.
right there.
Yeah,
I know, it's
right
crazy.
Right there. Oh, we'll do that too.
Okay.
I mean,
You
yeah,
lift
We'll
me
take
up
that
too?
photo.
Will
I'll
you-
lift
will
you
you
up. We'll
lift me
fake
up?
it.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be good. That's some
We'll
good
have Jared
photos
lift
for
you
sure.
up
Okay.
because he's kind of
well,
Duncan
well,
esque. He's tall and dark
really?
and
Wow,
handsome.
that's-
ish.
I mean, that's a compliment.
Let's take
I like
that photo.
You
Yeah,
know,
we'll
I
do
like
He did
that.
say kinda.
He's a
Jeez, man.
and
it was
ish.
that
I just
Goonies
wanted to
thing.
point
It was
that
that
out.
Goonies thing.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
He's gonna hold on to that.
You got a lot to.
I've known him for a while. I can say.
Well, speaking of those fans, I mean, of course, I've heard a lot about that, but I mean, even in some of the raw footage on the DVD, there's some shots of the of Gilman, and you can hear those fans like crazy in the raw footage. I mean, those are. I mean,
Oh,
they
those things
were.
were nuts. Those were big,
they're like 30 feet, right?
giant airplane engine.
Where did you have them here? Where were they?
They were all spaced around.
There was one right over
At
there.
the most, there was like 3 or 4 running at the same time, and just a bunch of set dressers and throwing leaves and fake rocks and bricks and like stop signs and stuff just flying through the air. I mean, it was whipping by you like 80 miles an
Really,
hour.
I don't. That's maybe an exaggeration.
I don't know.
80.
I don't know. It felt like it was 800.
It was fast.
Yeah.
I probably weighed like 40 pounds, and they definitely could push me over.
Yeah.
I was like literally clinging to the grass with my hands.
Should at least give you some weighted boots or something.
Nothing.
Nothing.
That is intense.
Where'd Ashley go?
She's in the vortex for real.
Oh,
Oh wait, she's not on top of the building.
Don't go, Ashley. Don't go. Please don't go.
Save me!
In the 10 to 11 years since the the first like Alamo Drafthouse stuff, I mean, you've watched the film on many occasions, I'm sure, and on the big screen. So, have you noticed anything when watching it on the big screen, watching the stuff that was shot here, that maybe you never noticed before, but you've noticed when watching it more recently, especially larger?
I think there's one scene when Dracula's like and like just a bunch of cops are coming at him like one by one, and he's just like psh, bam. And there's one where I always thought that he twisted his head off.
Yeah.
Oh,
where he
yeah.
twisted this guy's
Yeah.
head off. But if you look at just his hat fell off.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm like, oh, it's just his hat just fell off. I'm like, that was some pretty good effect. It looks like his head falls off, but I'm like, oh, I'm remembering it wrong. Like his hat just flew off.
I love that's probably one of my favorite moments of
That's
the whole
a great
movie.
sequence. That's a
when
good
he just
sequence.
he doesn't even flinch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right there.
right,
Just
right
mowing-
there.
Right there.
mowing them down. I think the biggest thing of being able to, for me, seeing it either remastered or on 35 in the theater, is the only thing anybody, including us, got to see for 20 years was the VHS copy, which is not the correct ratio. And there's a couple of key elements of really cool stuff throughout the movie, and a script element that has to do with Ashley's character, the mom, that you don't see on VHS. And it's when the candle blinks out.
Right.
And you don't see that on the VHS. I remember the first time I saw that again in the theater, I was like, oh, the candle's back. And so that was kind of cool. But, just wider, you get to see it's just better.
Well, too, here, there's that amazing matte painting shot when the bat is flying into here.
Yes.
Which, that's really an amazing matte painting that they expanded upon the square of. And, that,
did.
I'm sure, is something you wouldn't see. You would see the center of this, but you wouldn't see
All
the
of
neighborhood
No,
that they
no.
painted out.
And that was pretty good when he was coming
very
down,
cool.
and no more matte artists anymore. It's all digital artists. But yeah, there's 2 or 3, 4 really good kind of matte art examples in this, and that's one of them. He's coming down, you see this square recreation. That's kind of a cool shot.
That is awesome.
In the movie theater on the roof and all that. That's a matte and effects.
Andre, when we've spoken before, and in one of the, I think, Q&As you did, you really gave credit to a lot of the people behind the scenes, of course. And one person in particular, I think, was Bradford May, that you've mentioned to me. And what do you think, his contributions and somebody like Albert Brenner, the production designer's contributions were, especially to this town square? This place has been seen in over 200, movies and TV shows. So is there something that they brought to it to maybe make it look a little different than everything else that's been shot here?
Sure. It everything that you like about this movie aesthetically is because of those people. And I think a lot of people that are not kind of familiar with filmmaking think like a director makes a movie. He does. He leads a team. He's like the conductor of an orchestra of really talented people that are all kind of in charge of their own departments. And production design's huge. Cinematography is a whole other thing, and they got to collaborate. But it's that vision of what we're going to set up and how you're going to light that, how you're going to move the camera here, how you're going to move the camera during that, and it's pretty impressive or intimidating sometimes of how big of a scale of a scope making a big movie is, and how many people are involved, and how many crucial people are. And everybody, the director always gets all the credit.
Right.
Not that's not a bad thing, but not unjustified. But there's people back there that are making things look really good. Even the wardrobe people and costumers and costume design and keeping that stuff straight, just in the creation and the design aspect, let alone the logistics of keeping everything on track. And it's a whole bunch of people that come together to create basically a picture symphony. And Bradford May, is a great DP, comes up with these great shots, and he's still doing that. He's kind of got like his look, and production design's kind of the same. Some people are fun with movies that they can go and pick people like a DP or say a production designer and go watch their movies, and then you can see other stuff and go, oh, that's an Albert Brenner movie. Like I can tell when I'm listening to a Bruce Broughton movie because everybody has the same tone. That's another example, music. So
yeah, no, the music is great.
When you're watching a John Williams movie.
Totally.
Because you can feel it.
I mean, I think something they did in the square, that you guys were talking about, of course, was just that storm. And the amount of shit that was flying around here. That's something in all the stuff I've seen that's been filmed here. I don't think I've ever seen a storm like that in this town square.
Yeah, with kids.
With kids, too. Flying around the dogs.
I don't
on
think
the,
you could do that
everything.
in this day and age.
You might, you might be able to have to fake it. It's like you can throw the stuff in front of the camera, but not near the kids.
Yeah, that's
No, we
true.
were getting pelted in the head with this stuff. It was great.
Maybe.
I got one of those foam bricks right in the back of the noggin.
Aww.
It didn't hurt the foam brick. It didn't hurt me at all.
I know. That's why I was awing you.
Giant cranium.
I remember we were holding on to that rail right there in front of the church.
Yep.
And they didn't really show it too much in the film. Maybe it didn't look that great, but we were all like kind of like doing this like chain of people. Like I was holding on to so-and-so and someone was almost holding on to somebody else. But we were hoisted up. And I think this was while you were staking.
Or is it while
Dracula.
you're doing the thumbs up when you're giving
Oh
him?
yeah, we
It's
grab
the
you.
thumbs
We're
up.
holding on, and then we
Because
we
you
nab
grabbed
you.
me from going into the vortex,
Right.
and then it cut to the thumbs up.
Right.
But we did a shot where I was in a harness
Right.
and flying in the air, and my feet are going into the vortex kind of thing, and you guys are the only thing that are saving me.
Right.
And that was up on that's a stunt rig. I was like 5 feet off the ground or something, flying, and I don't know why it may not have looked good or something. But,
Yeah, they didn't do like a master of that or something.
Yeah,
Like
I
where we're
don't
all
know.
like in a line, like
yeah,
holding
because I
on.
remember that hurt. Given that harness, and I wish that was in there. That would have been a cool deleted scene.
That would have been great. There's so much, yeah, but that's when I remember things just being thrown and pelted at us the most.
Yeah.
We're
There's
all-
one funny
they're
part
like, okay,
about.
are you ready? And I'm like, I don't know. What are you gonna do? They're like, well, the fans are going down.
There was definitely not a lot of information to us about what was about to happen or what was going to happen. It was just like, are you ready? And you'd be like,
Yeah.
for what? Okay, here we go, action. And you're like,
Fred's on a bullhorn. Okay. I'm scared. I am scared. Where are we? What are we doing
what
here?
is happening? That's why it feels so real.
This place too is where, there are, of course, we all know a number of iconic lines in the movie, but a few of them are right here.
Oh, yeah.
Dracula's line to you,
Yes.
your line, of course, I'm in the goddamn club is right here.
Right.
And Brent, him right over there,
My name, yeah.
My
Right
name is
there.
Horace. Right there.
right over there. So I also did want to bring him up because it would be remiss just not to mention that, and it was right here. We're
Looking right at it.
crazy.
Yeah.
So how did it work with doing a lot of night shooting here and being kids, and how did that, scheduling wise, how did that all?
I think they
work?
did it in the fall, like after the time change, so it gets dark at like 5 or 6, so that we could shoot. Because I think we had to be off set by like 10 at the latest.
Yeah, you had to be off like
By-
an
well,
hour
probably
or two
earlier.
before us,
Yeah.
and then we could stay. But kids can only stay for
10 o'clock. I think.
9 hours a day at the most. what is it? 8 now, and that includes your school hours.
Yeah.
So you have a very short window of shooting, and you're trying to shoot at night, but you also have a 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock deadline, and that's why, like you were talking about Fred and them shooting here for so long, because they would shoot us out, and then we would have to leave, and they would continue to shoot a movie
Until,
all
like,
night long.
Right,
Yeah,
they
on
would
the
just
middle
get
of
the
the night.
shots of,
Yeah.
if it's like Dracula walk, the Dracula
all that
walking,
happened
all
after
that
we
stuff,
left.
Yeah.
all those
So I
things.
think
crazy.
we would show up before the sun went down and do our school
Yep.
for 3 hours, like while it was light and they were setting up. And then as soon as it would get dark, we'd come out and do a couple of shots, and then they'd send us home, and then they'd stay until like probably 3, 4 in the morning.
Oh, at least.
If we were coming at 3 in the afternoon, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
All the adults stayed and made a movie.
Yeah.
Right. Did they actually do, because that was the Sportman shop over there on the corner,
Yep.
I think,
Mm-hmm.
right? Did they actually do Wolfman coming out of that window
Yeah,
up there?
that's-
So so they did it actually
Yeah.
in that alley.
That little
Yeah.
alley there, but I think that one wall was actually pushed back a little bit, so it was a little bit deeper of an
Wow,
alley.
so they did
but-
that explosion over
Right.
in there.
Right. Yeah. No, I stood right over there and watched that. I saw that. That was kind of cool.
That is
And
pretty awesome.
yeah,
I
that's
didn't
right
know
where
if they
you-
did that effect shot there. That's
Yeah,
pretty,
they-
pretty
yep.
awesome.
Yep. And yeah, all that lasting was all right here.
Did you guys shoot some stuff in the jungle here too? Was that the swamp? Was the
The
swamp?
swamp is here.
Yeah,
swamp was the
swamp
jungle?
is here
Swamp is
also.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's two. There's like the swamp, but then of course where the treehouse is, there's kind of like a little bit of water.
Oh,
Well,
Yeah.
that's out by that's actually
that's at
the
Culver,
real
right?
treehouse
The-
is out by Magic Mountain.
Right.
Or
right,
what's
right.
now Stevenson's Ranch. It's a nice
Yeah.
subdivision.
Right.
But it's
right.
but
But the
that
jungle
with the
was
practical.
In Valencia.
the jungle was here though.
The jungle
so-
one's here, right?
Do you remember what the first locations were that you each shot at?
My first day was the first scene
The school, right?
in the school. Yeah,
I
we
think
shot
it
at
was the school was the beginning.
shot
Yep.
at the elementary school.
I believe that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you weren't at that. You weren't.
Well, I was after school, so on the street. So that
Which is-
probably was shortly. It was close
Same
by.
week,
I think it was
yeah.
the same week. Scary German guy's house.
Phoebe the
yeah,
Phoebe.
Scary Germans guys.
No,
house.
Phoebe the
Also
Phoebe.
Zen-
Oh,
Like
that's
when you're
right.
walking, it's that great shot
No,
where
but-
you're coming up. Like, why are you walking totally by yourself?
But that is still Scary German guy's house.
Yeah, that's
Phoebe
the same-
Phoebe.
same
It's the
area.
same street, I think. Isn't it?
no. When I say, "Oh, great, Phoebe the Phoebe,"
Right.
no, actually Patrick does, because he and I are talking about Wolf
Right,
Dorks.
but we walk right in front of Scary German guy's house.
That's after that. Yeah,
but
that's
it's
after
the
that.
same.
It's the same spot though,
It's the
right? It's the
same-
same
it's
right,
like
right
the
out in
same
front of
street.
his.
Yeah, yeah.
Right out in front of the
Where
house.
I like cross the street without looking and just run balls.
That's
out
the
into
best.
street. I love it.
So
Dead. I just-
we were in sort of a real Anytown America. Why do you think it was set up to be sort of a Anytown America, and not put somewhere specifically?
Well, I think that most people in this world can relate to that a little bit more than, I mean, yeah, we live in the big bad city and all that stuff, but I think most people, and I think that, I think it just makes for a better story. It's just like these small town kids do like big, worldly things.
I mean, I also think that there's an element of like this could happen to anyone, or this is you, right? Like we're all
Right.
the outcast. Everyone feels like they don't quite fit in, and everyone that belongs to everybody. So to have it be anonymous feels the most appropriate, I think.
I think it's what kind of lingers with the actual individuals that are fans. It's always kind of that's a running theme is I related to you guys so well, and I was you, or my friend was Rudy, and I even had a little sister, and
She was really annoying.
she, but you saved the world, so it's okay. And they're like, because we really thought that could be us. And so I think the realism in maybe the setup and the look and hopefully the performances is what created that dynamic for those fans.
And I mean, Monster. It's really the movie is a perfect example of like why filmmakers came to L.A. in the first place. I mean, you can make this place look like anywhere, And I mean, I think Fred really did a good job of cutting out palm trees wherever they were. I think the only shot I really noticed them in is very quick during the montage when you guys are riding your bikes, and you see a few. But
Right.
other than that, like you don't
Yeah.
see palm trees, you don't see anything.
Well, there's a
Yeah.
giant palm tree right in front of Scary German Guy's house, but it has Spanish moss all
Oh,
over it,
okay.
so you can't really tell. So it worked out good.
Yeah, and they really decorated that place up front.
Oh, there
They
was
really,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they totally.
Yeah.
I mean, was it?
So it's any town USA that there can be Spanish moss and swamps. And like
and
pythons.
big, pythons.
Right.
Right. So- yeah, some python and then like riding under your bike under a python.
Yeah. As you do.
Well, that's like the Everglades now, so it's fine.
Do you guys ever remember that being any kind of issue in him trying to set up his shots? You know, like trying to frame certain things out. I mean, I don't know if that's anything you would have.
I don't know if we would
picked
even
up on or
picked
anything.
up on
No,
that then.
Okay,
But I'm sure that was certainly a point.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure
Yeah.
that they talked about that a lot.
Oh yeah, I mean they hung a lot of Spanish moss on a lot of trees. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a proposition. Well, not a proposition for you guys. I have, something.
Please tell me
Hey,
more.
we're open. We're open. It's fine.
Well,
I'm
one
intrigued.
thing. Another movie that has actually some connections, I think, to the Monster Squad. Also being set in sort of an anytown America is Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Okay,
Love
and
that movie.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure, of course, was also shot here on the lot. They use the jungle. They use all the between the stages, and not only that, Patrick and you do the little Pee-wee Herman, I know you are, but what am I exchange. Okay, so what do you think if like these movies were in the same city? That actually these characters like existed in the same place, and you guys actually knew Pee-wee Herman, because in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, there's kids on BMX bikes.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks a lot like you guys.
It's always about the bike.
You
Yeah.
know, like what
I like it.
what kind of movie would this be?
Jason Hervey was in both films.
And that's
And
true
J-
too.
yeah.
Jason Murray was in both films.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, what do you think? What
Playing
kind of
the same
movie
guy?
would be if like
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Did he have
well,
a
he
name
is
in
kind of-
Pee-wee?
he
'Cause
is
it
playing
could've
the
been
same
he is the same? He is the same guy exactly.
He's the crossover link.
He's always the same.
He's all.
Yeah. But I mean, these could be in the same place. I mean, what do you think? I mean, what kind of movie would it be if like the Monster Squad and Pee-wee Herman?
I think
We're in,
like,
like,
in,
the
I think
same-
like in a remastered new Blu-ray, you see Pee-wee and his chute getting sucked into the vortex.
Oh,
It's like flying in the background. That'd be awesome.
that'd be pretty.
Or running like scared in the background.
Running scared better than something.
Or we just do like a,
No,
a
you're like,
mashup
"Oh!"
sequel,
yeah,
like a
I
net,
mean,
like his next Netflix.
That's his next movie?
Is Pee-wee's Big Monster Squad Adventure.
yeah,
Pee-wee's Big Squad.
yeah.
That doesn't sound
That-
right.
that's not-
that doesn't
That
sound
doesn't
right.
roll off the
Take it
tongue
back,
very
take it
well,
back.
does it? I take
no,
that back.
it never happened.
That just
We're just gonna pretend that didn't.
But it's better than Monster Pee-wee. That's even worse.
Monster Pee-wee.
No, that's
yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's
that's
Yeah, that's not good
that's
either.
pretty bad.
that's that back aisle in the video store. You don't know.
Oh, guys.
Well, I just had to throw it out there. It seemed like it was.
I dig it because I
you know.
love Paul Rubens and I love Pee-wee Herman.
Yeah.
You know, I did a benefit with Pee-wee around that time. There was a lot of other actors there too, but we were at a children's hospital and we were going around from room to room just saying hi to everyone. And I went up to him and he was handing out these little cards with his picture on it and he was signing them. And I said, "Hi Pee-wee, I'm a huge fan. Can I have one?" And he broke. He was dressed full. He was Pee-wee. He kind of broke character a little bit and he says, "You don't understand. I'm like a huge fan of yours."
Whoa.
And I like freaked, and this was from Kids Incorporated. So I was freaking out. I'm like, no way. I still have the card. It says, "Hi, Ryan, huge fan, Pee-wee Herman."
That's pretty
Wow,
awesome.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous.
Kids Incorporated. Who isn't jealous?
Yeah.
I'm a lot jealous.
Well, especially for him to break character. To break character.
Yeah, it was like just a quick
I mean-
side. It was like, "Hey, just so you know, I'm a huge, huge fan." I was
That's
like,
awesome.
I
love
kind
that
of like was
story.
like, "No, don't break character. I don't want to see Paul Rubens."
Well, I did. I went to the when he was, doing his new show. Like, this
Right.
was like 6-7 years ago, and he did it first at the Nokia downtown.
I saw it.
And
It was
we
amazing.
did
I cried.
we went to a Q&A. He did a Q&A
Yep,
afterwards.
I saw that.
And what was cool, maybe we're at the, I don't know, maybe we're at
Yeah.
the show, but what was awesome is he came out, he was in Pee-wee, his attire, and he was doing the Q&A generally as Pee-wee. But when a few people in the audience started, to kind of say, "We're really happy you're back and you're doing your thing because what happened to you was like really terrible," you could tell, I think it really got to him.
Do you know who said that?
No.
Me.
That was you?
I stood up.
Oh my God.
I
Wow.
asked if I could. He was asking for Q&A, and I stood up and said, "I just want to say, I have no question. I just want to say thank you so much for doing this. We're so glad you're back. You deserve everything that
Yeah.
you're getting right now." And I
Yeah,
saw
he
that was
totally
me.
started to, yeah, I mean, you could tell.
Maybe
was
someone else did
definitely
it at a different performance, but I did that
yeah.
as well.
No,
Nice
I
little
mean,
full circle there.
it was awesome. No, it was really cool.
That's rad.
So funny.
what kind of movie would the Monster Squad be if it was actually set in Los Angeles? Like if it was a Los Angeles movie, what would these characters be like?
Dell would be a movie star.
It would probably be a
He'd
musical.
He'd be an action movie star.
Yeah.
He'd play a cop on TV. He wouldn't be a cop.
Rudy would
No,
be
he-
like a hustler on the streets on Santa Monica.
Venice.
Venice Beach.
Venice Beach.
Ew, he'd be like Jim Morrison or something. Gross.
We'd have musical numbers, like actual Rock Until You Drop. Like we'd break into a song and dance.
Maybe he just like
and it's called Squad Land.
Squadland. Oh man. Some of these titles that were coming up with today. I mean,
Sorry.
Copywritten.
Sorry. 4 different versions of Rock Until You Drop.
oh my god.
Like one at the piano. Rock until you drop.
Are you gonna keep singing for
Rock.
us?
No.
Please.
well, and this leads me to another thing.
City of Monsters.
Oh man.
The La La Land Cafe is right around the corner.
Yeah, La La,
I know.
you can do it.
I got all the feels.
We can
left.
actually
They're chasing you.
Wow, I didn't know I was getting this today. This is
City of Monsters. Because you hear it like 11 times. You're like, I got the song.
Got it.
I got it.
Got it.
I love that song.
I know. It won the Oscar.
catchy, too.
It is
very
really
catchy.
very
you know?
catchy.
Ron, you're from Cleveland, is that right?
I was born
You
there.
were born there.
Yeah.
I guess I want to ask you what kind of movie this would be if it was a Cleveland movie.
Very brown. and boring.
Brown and boring.
You know, to tell you the truth, I was born there, but I grew up
Yeah.
in Los Angeles, so I don't know too much about Cleveland. I've been there a few times for weddings and funerals and such, but I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but that's pretty much my
That's it.
extensive
That's
knowledge of Cleveland.
All right. That's cool.
That's fair enough.
that's fair, yeah,
Brown. Brown?
Brown and boring.
Brown.
Not just because
We love
the
you,
Browns
Cleveland.
play
I mean, we
there,
love you, Cleveland.
but because
Yeah,
to me, when I think of Cleveland, it just looks brown to me.
Yeah, when
and
is your
not
next
just the NFL team.
when is your next convention stop
Yeah,
in
not
Cleveland?
in
You better
Cleveland.
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
not
Yeah, hopefully not
Wait,
soon.
just boop. Got a text. Just canceled. What? Thanks, Ryan.
it's my fault. Sorry. Guys.
No.
I brought it
We'll
up.
just
I
go
brought
back
it
to
up.
Cincinnati.
Or not.
You
sort of
mean
Cincinnati.
outside of
Outside of
Cincinnati?
Cincinnati adjacent.
Yeah.
We're in Cincinnati
Cincinnati
adjacent.
adjacent.
We just went to a convention and we were, it was Cincinnati Con or
Right.
whatever,
We were
but
like
it was nowhere
45
near Cincinnati.
We were like 45 minutes away from Cincinnati.
Man,
It was
Good
still
show,
fun.
though.
Is the-
It was
Good
fun.
show,
It was
though.
still fun.
Good show.
is the airport closer to downtown than where
That's
you were?
actually
or
in
you
Kentucky.
So, oh, that's right. It is
It's
in
on the
Kentucky.
other side
That's
of
right.
Cincinnati.
Oh,
That's right. That's right. It is. That's right.
Lexington. You go to the almost Lexington.
You said you shot some stuff up in Newhall, up in the ranch there. So that's where the exterior of the clubhouse.
That practical
right?
clubhouse was up there, Santa Clarita area. Yeah. Then we were on Warner Ranch
Right.
as well, which is an awesome location.
Just up the
also
street here. Just up the street.
for
That was your backyard.
backyard, like one shot of the backyard, and then the front yard scene, which has my favorite scene where Dracula pulls up and rips the door off his
Oh, I
own
love
car,
that scene.
and then the partner gets blown up, and then Dell and that's the front exterior of the house.
Right.
Was there anything else at the ranch? Or was that it?
Uh,
I think that might have been it.
That's all I remember
you know
shooting.
what about the
And the school and Scary
about-
German guy was all in Santa Monica.
right? But what about the diner, Phil's Diner?
That's
That's
here,
over
right?
there.
Oh,
that
it was
here?
over here.
It's down the street. I don't know if it's still there. We could take a walk down there in a minute.
Oh, so it was on the main lot here.
Yeah, it's here.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I
You're,
didn't know it was over here.
My favorite spit take ever.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
It's a good one.
That's right.
There was two. There's one
and
right
one-
over there too,
yeah.
right in
You
front of
just
Fox
could not-
Photo.
You just could not keep your drink in your mouth.
He still can't.
And I do want to mention too that while we're here, there are tours going by. which
Yes.
is-
There are trams,
which
like
is
I know.
awesome.
They keep
circling
waving to
us.
us.
and
The Warner
waving.
Brothers
I haven't
lot
really.
tour,
I've been
yeah.
looking at you guys.
They
Have
keep
you been
looking at us like,
waving
who
you
are
guys?
they? Do we know them?
We're gonna be
Like,
in a lot
is
of
that
pictures.
a Gilmore Girl?
We're gonna be a lot of
I'm like,
pictures
yes,
with them.
it's
Like,
me. I'm a Gilmore Girl.
You're the third Gilmore Girl.
Yeah, the Gilmore they don't show or talk about
You're
because
the one they hide in
they're
the
ashamed.
basement. What a different show Gilmore Girls would be if there was like a third one hiding in the basement.
Oh my god.
Under Pee Wee's house. Ryan and I met and actually interviewed for our podcast Wayne White, the artist that was one of the production designers that gave Pee Wee's Playhouse its look.
Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
awesome.
Wayne White, Ryan was a big fan of his prior, and he was a really cool dude. We met him in Chattanooga. So there's another little Pee Wee tie-in that
That's
we've had
awesome.
today. It's working out good.
A lot of Pee Wee. I know.
Yeah,
we got to do.
but
I think.
to give
I think
that
it's got to
look
get
was
done.
so
yeah.
kind of. I think people have tried to do something fun like that more, but that was very singular, for sure.
Actually, speaking of the Warner Ranch and Newhall, I mean, I think one of the greatest displays of using multiple locations is that whole exchange in the backyard when Frankenstein appears. Because, I mean, you basically, right, had to shoot it 2 different times in 2 different locations.
I think it's
because-
3.
Is it 3?
Because it's
Because
the
you
Newhall
have-
one where you're by the water and that shot when you turn around,
Right, there's that.
which is a good shot.
But
That's out there.
But I mean, the actual exchange where you guys are, when Frankenstein comes out, you guys run away. You're in the back of the house at the Warner Brothers Ranch, but
Right.
you and Frankenstein are still standing
In front of the tree.
In front of the tree house, and you're
And then-
having an exchange.
Yeah, and when he pushes me, then that's out there as
Right,
well.
so you had
yeah.
to do it.
I think
You
it's.
had to do
it
that.
I
is
will
twice.
say though that I think that my coverage of that is actually in the same location where you guys ran away, because I'm so much shorter than Noonan, that I don't think you could see the treehouse when you're looking at me, because it's like his knee. I like come up
Right.
to his knee,
Right,
and it's like
okay.
his knee and like some brush in the
Yeah,
back.
two totally different,
Yeah.
two totally different
Yeah.
places, but it makes it look like a backyard.
And
Yeah.
they were amazing that they were able to match that
It's
in
amazing.
terms of like tone and
Little
lighting. It's
screen
like-
direction.
Yeah.
You guys talking, to each other in 2 different places. I mean,
Yeah.
look, it's something that's gone on in movies for, of course, for
Yeah.
a long time. But I think it is particularly well done, especially, they brought a fence out to Newhall
Yeah.
to tie in the 2
Yep.
places.
Yep.
I think that's really great.
That's where that aspect comes in of having all those people that know what they're doing and then finishing
because
it well.
otherwise you don't
and-
have
lot
that
of fence,
fence.
yeah. And it
Get
works.
into
They haul the
editing and you're
fence
like,
all
oh,
the way
no.
out there.
No, I see, but you see that all the time. Even in big movies, someone forgot the fence.
Yeah.
Damn
No,
it.
it's really well done. It really is. I think that whole sequence really well done. Do you remember at all how far apart you did those, where you had to do them 2 different times? Was it like weeks that you?
It might have
you
been
did?
probably a week or 2, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It might have been more because we went out there all for those days in a row and got all that. Because then they actually blew up the treehouse
Right.
out there, which was another.
Yeah, but they do that at
favorite
night,
part.
right?
Yeah, they did that.
So
at
they
night.
could have conceivably done that the
And-
same night
Yeah,
after we went home.
yeah, it was probably not too far removed. Well, we were really only on it for 3 months total,
But
so
that's
which is a long time.
now. Like
Yeah,
for
3.
then,
Yeah.
for then it wasn't
Long
that
time.
long, but for now that's a really long shooting.
Well,
season.
everybody's trying to do a feature in 21 days
they do it.
and cramming
They
it
don't
out.
try to do
Well,
it,
they're not
they
working
do
with
it.
kids; they can only be there for 3 hours.
That's true.
We did a lot of on stage stuff too, though. Which
Yeah, there is a lot of stage stuff, and I wanted to ask you about that. Did you hang around set when? I mean, I know there are, of course, all the labor laws, and you guys have to be out at a certain time. But were you guys ever there when you weren't shooting and just kind of were really into the sets?
I remember walking around.
I mean, I guess what I mean is the Dracula, like the catacomb type stuff.
The
we-
underground, the
yes.
house, and all that.
Yeah, I walked around there. I don't remember watching them shoot any of the Dracula stuff, the beginning sequence. I don't think I remember watching them shoot, but I remember going on to the set and looking at and seeing the whole thing. So, what I remember most about being on set is the interior of the clubhouse, which was a lot smaller than it looks. It's very crammed. It was very crammed in there. I remember in it, and
Felt spacious.
yeah. Well, for you.
We were always
They're
stuck
like,
up in Rudy's.
Now
They're
it
like,
would be
get,
small.
Yeah,
Like,
it
get in
would
this
be
little
small, yeah.
alcove and sit here for 8 hours.
You
I'm
were
like,
up in Rudy's loft.
yeah, I'm
is
like,
what you
Yeah.
were.
I'm in
yeah,
this
you
loft.
have your little. Yeah, you have,
Sit up in this loft for 8 hours. Cram yourself in there. I was like, okay. So I remember being in there for
Yeah.
a very long time.
Yeah, I liked the underground of the mansion scene, like where we find the amulet in the room. That was real garlic, by the way. Buckets and barrels and baskets of real garlic. It stank. And but that was really kind of a neat design, and fake rock, but it looks really amazing. And like I said, enter the house, the clubhouse.
how about your house?
Yeah, just like a set on a stage.
Yeah, I mean they built like that whole house. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
you
they
have
built.
every bedroom, the
Yep.
kitchen, the
All
downstairs,
the
I mean,
same
Yeah.
everything.
The whole thing.
Yeah. And I remember being, because this was 30 years ago and technology was different, but during the scene where like it's lightning outside and they had the old scissor electrode effect to do lightning, and it's this old technology, and it's this giant like electrical rig that has these 2 opposite charged giant electrical nodes, and when they touch they arc and they boom and they crackle and they make this really bright light, and it's really scary. And then now they have lights that
Right.
do it better now they can get lights to flash at a frame rate that looks like lightning. But this is like a 1930s technology. It scared the bejesus out of me because it was just loud.
Well, that's really cool that they were using that though, because it really does harken back to the Universal
old
monster
classic
movies,
monster
you know
movie.
what I mean?
Sure.
So I think
and
that's really awesome.
it gives a really authentic. Because since I learned what that thing was, and then you see the new technology with kind of lightning lights, so to speak, you can see they're a little different. You can see it's you can tell when you're watching a newer movie and some old movie, and because light, that was the thing. Like that's the only way to create that flash of light that quickly and that intensely was to do this, actually create like an electrical explosion.
All right, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on.
I
in this
feel
movie,
really
right?
lucky that we're alive right now.
No, the guy that operated that scissor boom thing had to wear like a welder's helmet and like a fire suit and like big gloves and all this. Oh
my God.
How does he get? He's got to be paid.
Hazard pay.
Hazard pay, definitely.
All of the sets, the interior sets were at the Culver Studios. Is that
Yes.
right? Culver
Yeah.
Studios. Do you know why they did it down there, but posted? Because in the commentary, I know Fred said his and Shane's office they had at Universal for a period of time. So I don't know if there was.
I think we did a little there, and I think it's when. I have no idea.
My guess would be money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Stage
because.
rental was
Yeah.
the producer
Maybe
said
that's
we're
true.
the
That'd be my
producer said
guess.
we're shooting at Culver Studio.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's always
That'd be my
yeah.
guess.
It always comes down to a line
Yeah,
item somewhere.
yeah. But you did do some stuff at Universal. The mansion, the exterior of the mansion,
Right.
is over there, which is no longer there.
I know, that would be cool.
But that place was built in 1927. That house, it was built there, and it moved around. They moved it from one spot
Yeah.
to another, which I think is amazing how they do that. And
that would be a cool set to go take a picture in front of again, because some of our deleted scenes are on the front of that house. But that's a good example of recreating a set, because that was also an interior when we're inside that house. That's a set. And so they match that porch and come in the door, and yeah, that was kind of neat too. So I was trying to think of other set builds, and that's the other one.
they really messed that place up, man. I mean, I've seen pictures of that mansion when it's just pristine. I mean, they really like trashed that.
Oh, it's all
place.
overgrown
It's
and
amazing.
yeah.
They did a great job with that.
Spanish
Well, Steve-
moss.
Spanish
Greenery.
More
moss.
Spanish
More
moss.
greenery.
The,
That's right.
And then I think I heard
Throw some dirt on it.
Sorry, the police station was across from there. Was that also at Universal?
And then they come
the
out.
exterior?
Yeah, I
Well,
think
the
that was on one of
exterior,
their
but
like
was the
town
interior-
square
The interior was
thing.
a set.
I
The
think that
interior
was
a set.
The
yeah, 'cause
interior
they,
was a set.
when they break the window and he
Yeah.
flies
Break
through.
the window,
Yeah.
but the
that was all set.
exterior was when Stan gets into the car.
Get in the
he gets
car.
into
I think
the
that's
car.
just like towns or like a street, city street over there.
Do you guys like shooting on location more or on a stage? Do you guys have any particular feeling about that?
I don't know. I think it just kind of depends on. I mean, for me, it's like I've always kind of been just like, tell me where to stand. Just, what do I do? Where do you want me to go? What's my lines? Kind of thing, and like, leave the rest up to the, the Imagineers or whatever, that come up with it. And then they do such a great job, as you can see, like turning this place into our square. We felt like we were in our hometown or whatever. But when you're on a set, on a stage, it's exciting. The whole thing is just magical, no matter where you are, I think.
Yeah, I like them both. I don't know if I like one better than the other. There's something really cool about being on a stage or on a backlot where like, oh, they've done this here and they've done this here, and there's all that like history,
Yeah.
which you don't really have when you're on a practical location. But when you're on a practical location, in sometimes it's easier to even think to. I'm not being eloquent at all, but it's sometimes easier to feel like you're actually a real person in that place because it is a real place.
Right.
Sure.
Do you guys like seeing movie locations yourselves? I mean, do you guys get excited? Like if you're in some city somewhere and something was shot at a place, is that?
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Every time I
dig
walk by
that.
the Ghostbusters building when I'm in New York City, I'm like, that's where
Oh,
they
yeah.
shot Ghostbusters.
That's
yeah.
a good one. That's a good
Except
one.
the interior is here
Yes.
in Los Angeles, which is
Don't
cool.
spoil it, Jared.
I have, that's what I do.
Oh, man.
Okay? That's what I do. I spoil movie locations for people. That's
Yeah.
just my.
So actually, I was watching a show the other night. I was binging a show on Netflix, and it takes place in San Francisco. And I was actually watching it sort of online with a friend of mine because I lived in San Francisco for 15 years, and we were watching it together. And it takes place like in the early 90s, early 2000s when I first moved there. And so we were looking at all the locations. We were like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Oh, that's that's the burrito place we ate at, whatever. That's cool. That's cool. And then she said, wait, that doesn't look familiar. What is that? Where's that? That's the bookstore. where would that be? I'm like, you know where that is? Los Angeles. I said, that's the bookstore that I buy books at now. So
crazy, man.
it's really
Yeah.
funny how the whole thing takes place in San Francisco, but they needed this cool bookstore. They came here.
That's what I'm fascinated about. With
Is the location
locations,
stuff,
You know,
yeah.
it's like how they choose a place. You know, I mean, and sometimes I find it's like it's as simple as, well, it was free, it was available, it was cheap,
Right.
you know, whatever it is. But sometimes, I mean, the thought process that goes into it is sometimes mind blowing. You know, sometimes the people I've spoken with before, it's crazy.
Well, I think the thing that got me as a kid were two shows that we all watched and loved, and I love the Dukes of Hazzard.
Right here,
we're in
we're
it.
sitting here, we're
I'm
sitting here.
watching. I'm looking at Boss Hogg's office. But Dukes of Hazzard is supposed to take place in northern Georgia, and when they're out jumping over creeks and all that stuff, that's Simi Valley and Chatsworth. And scrub oaks and rocks and sagebrush don't look anything like northern Georgia if you've ever been there. And so that kind of, I was like, ah. And then when you watch Little House on the Prairie, looks nothing like Minnesota. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, and my favorite gaffe in an episode of, because not about gaffes, not about locations, but they were building like Simi Valley in the valley, and there's a shot of Victor French and Michael Landon, and over the shoulder of Victor French, there's like a giant backhoe and like a scraper like working and exhaust coming out in the background of an 1800 show, and you see these big caterpillar machines in the background clearing land to build houses, and I'm like, whoops, oops, here comes Simi Valley. But yeah, the fact that General Lee's been like right
Yeah,
there
I
is
know.
what gets me. That
It's,
kills me.
I know.
Forget us. That's like,
I know.
that's where Roscoe P. Coltrane
pretty wild,
parked.
you know?
That's right there.
I mean, yeah. You know, like,
Get them Dukes.
I mean, all these houses. I mean,
There's the Growing Pains
yeah,
house right
growing
there.
hair, yeah.
Yeah.
which is in Gremlins as well.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
where Mrs. Deagle gets thrown out the
Yep.
Yep.
out the window. You know, which is pretty awesome. What do you remember? Can you tell me what you remember about the school? About filming there? Anything in particular? Did you film inside the school too?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you shot
the
inside.
principal's office scene is in that school, and the hallway, and then the, the screech up, light the cigarette scene, drop your candy bar, E.J. Ryan scene is all in some at the elementary school in Santa Monica. And I think we were there for a couple days.
I think we must have been.
Yeah, and because it's easier to do, because that's another thing where production and UPMs and all that come and met. You're like, we're in Santa Monica this week, so we'll do the school, and then we have a company move, but it's only like 3 blocks instead of
To the
30
Scary
miles.
German
Yeah,
guy's house.
Scary German guy's house and this street and the alley. Yeah, I think you see a palm tree in the alley. Might
You
be in the
yeah,
alley. Yeah, I
you
think
might see a
so.
palm
Yeah.
tree in the alley. But it's
Yeah.
it's on like a long lens.
Yeah,
You really
it could
don't-
be fine.
Yeah,
You could be
it's-
fine.
You're good there, I think. It's good there.
Where we're trying to figure out how to do it. Yeah, I remember that scene, and I remember there was some timing or something of a line, and we couldn't, like, it wouldn't work. It was so frustrating. I don't know why I remember that alley scene so well. But
Ryan, do you remember?
it was piece of cake. That's what it was. He was trying to say, because in the script it says piece o cake.
Piece of
So I was like,
cake.
piece of cake. And I think someone was like, piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake. And I think you had one time because we were rehearsing a scene and it was, oh my God. And in a script, it's OMIGOD. It's all one word. Oh my God.
Oh my god.
And you went, you went, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And Fred's like, no, it's oh my God. Oh my God. And it's like, well, then write that.
Yeah.
It's like, come
Right?
on,
OMG.
script
Jeez,
people.
guys.
But yeah.
But I couldn't even read that, so I don't know.
Piece of
Yeah,
cake.
you know what? That's my mom's fault because I couldn't read. So that's
What are you
my mom.
saying when
Piece
you're
of
pointing at the TV when the mummy
Nothing.
gets loose? What is she saying? What are you, like, repeating over and
Yeah,
over
yeah,
again?
what is that?
What do you
Boring-
say?
Boring guy.
Boring
Boring
guy.
guy.
Boring guy.
Boring guy. Yes.
Thank you.
Boring guy. Boring guy.
Yeah.
I was watching it the other day
Because it's the
again.
newscaster.
Yes.
Oh, the
Boring guy.
newscaster's
And I'm like,
boring guy.
Boring guy.
Bor-
Boring guy.
I got it.
Oh my
But what
God.
if you're listening to her, I know it because I was there. It's a boring
Yeah.
guy, but he's telling a story that 3 college students have gone missing. 3 college co-eds have gone missing, and of course it's the Vampire Brides.
I think.
So that's a little, yeah, you got to listen to his newscast.
Well, no, I think they cut it out because that scene was longer. Remember, there was more to that scene, and I think it's snipped.
Well, I think there's actually they shot you at the TV to get that story
Right,
behind you
but I don't-
saying you're
but I don't
boring
think
or
it's
whatever.
But it's
Is it
not
not?
in the movie. The story part.
Oh, it's supposed to be.
I know.
I mean,
Well, I've
originally,
never-
then that's what it
well,
is.
I
Yeah,
know.
you're right. Maybe yeah.
I don't think I ever noticed the story part of it because I think I was interested in what you were saying at the television, and I'm so glad you cleared that
I'm
up.
very aggressive.
Because I always
towards
just
the
thought it.
newscaster.
I really just thought it was boinga, boinga, boinga.
So did I.
Like that.
I thought you were
like-
going boing guy, boing guy, boing guy. I'm like, what's a boing
This
guy?
is why I had to do a lot of looping.
I thought you were like boinging around, like boing, boing. No, I thought you were just
hitting
boinging.
the TV too. So I didn't know if it was like some kind of game. I didn't know what it was, but
My bad,
And
guys.
you were 5 and speaking another language. I think we're good. I
Yeah,
think-
no,
I think you're.
I don't think
we're
boring
good.
guy is another language, but
No, I mean in the other part of the movie. We didn't speak other language.
it is the double G though, which one's bound to
Boring
get
guy.
lost,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Boring guy.
yeah.
Could have been lame guy.
Believe me, there's
Yeah.
fans out there that are going, Ryan, you're an idiot. Like, it's boring guy. I know what it
Yeah,
is.
they all know. Everybody knows what it is.
Boinga.
They're like, you leave her alone. She's so cute. You leave her alone.
Yeah, leave me alone, you guys. I'm so cute.
You didn't speak German.
One of the most iconic shots in the movie is when you're all walking in the sunset with Frankenstein, which is on T-shirts. It's on, where did you guys do that? Was that in New? Was that
I think
in
that's
New
out in Santa Clarita
Out there
too. Yeah.
I remember at the time not understanding what the hell we were doing.
You just walk
Because
just
they're just like, just hold Frankenstein's finger and walk.
And
I was
walk.
like, what are we doing? Like,
That's
I
a
don't
long way,
understand.
too. It's like,
this
it was
is not
golden
a
hour.
scene.
Golden hour,
Like,
yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
acting. This is not a scene. I don't get it. I was very confused.
Camera was way far away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Where were we going?
Into the sunset.
Yeah.
Because
Come on, Ryan,
it
it's a
gets kind of
movie.
sad right
Into
there.
the
It's all
sunset.
sad, and then we're just all walking all sad. Like, where were we actually?
We're it's Miller
it was
time.
a sweet bonding
Well, it's like
moment.
the,
Rudy
you know,
was.
it's like the Spielberg kind of shot. Yeah,
Sure.
I
it's
think
like-
I have
shot
to
is
say,
great.
I think
It's a
I
beautiful
saw
shot,
E.T.
but nothing
at,
happens right after. Like,
I feel like
Yeah,
I saw
E.T., yeah.
E.T. at the Hollywood Bowl a couple of
Yeah.
seasons ago, and I feel like there's a shot where I was like, I
Yeah, they're all
recognize
walking.
that shot.
Yeah.
No, into the sunset off a hill.
Yeah.
Where are they
That's
walking?
Where you got it from. Okay.
Which that shot's in my neighborhood that I used to live in. That ET shot. They shot ET in my
in-
neighborhood.
yeah.
Porter
Right,
Ranch.
Porter Ranch,
Yeah.
Ryan, you I think mentioned on the commentary when they were going through the shots where you're making the stakes and you're in sort of the wood shop that you didn't really remember filming all that. I mean, in the past 10 years, has anything come up about where any of that was or anything?
That all happened like second unit with
Yeah.
Peter Hyams, like really quickly, because like Fred was like very like meticulous with us and like very like nurturing and like kind of like helping us along and like giving us little pointers and like little like I said, he was talking about James Dean was here and like all that stuff, and so but Peter Hyams was like, stand right here, do this, put that in the thing. All right, cut. Let's do the next one. Let's go on. I don't know if that's how he sounded.
This
Hey,
is
you
kinda-
like
I think
it when
that
they
was
just
kinda
tell you
close.
where to stand.
I think that was kind of close.
It's just like,
Make a bullet.
yeah,
You're like,
what I do remember was them saying, sit here, here's the stuff, make a silver bullet. I'm like, how? You guys know that I don't make silver bullets in real life. Like I don't really do that. Like I just came from doing math with like with Elise, my teacher. So yeah, like so then the prop guy came up and said, you just pour a little, you put the spoon in here. There stuff's already melting in it. It'll just scoop out some stuff, pour it in here, open the thing, and it'll pop out. The prop will pop out. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll try it. And like Peter Hyams was like, all right, do it, action, and that's boom, we're done.
Probably another scene we wouldn't be able to do, like with
No, they would
molten
never
metal
let
and
you,
making
like,
bullets
actually
with
melt
open
metal.
flame.
No way.
Yeah,
if he
the
would
steak-
flip it
Like
the
I
right way,
said, I feel
splash
very
molten
lucky
metal
that we're
on you.
alive.
It's like that's not going to happen today.
God, guys, I know.
Show the teacher your birdhouse, and then pick up one of these wooden things and put it against the thing. And I'm like, sure, okay,
Big belt
Jesus.
sander.
Yeah, the big belt
Yeah, that's
sander.
crazy.
Come
man.
on,
Okay,
belt sander,
belt
damn it.
sander, go! Like goes on. Action! Ah!
Yeah, that's
You're gonna get a
dangerous
really,
stuff, man.
you're gonna
That's
get a colorful email from Peter Hyams.
I know. Yeah, right.
That's not how I sound. I sound like this. When I cuss you out, you'll know it.
Do you know where the thing was where the Wolfman breaks out of the phone booth?
When
know where
that
that
was?
was?
Patty's
I
Diner-
think-
was that Universal or
No,
was
I
that
think,
here?
don't
I
know.
think
I'm
that's near
wondering
the
if-
jungle.
Oh, so you think it was here?
It was here or the
on
Universal?
the-
Yeah.
That might have
Rock.
been near the
Wait,
diner.
you mean CW?
CW?
CW.
Perhaps.
We've mentioned CW a lot lately.
Oh, you guys are so bad.
Little eggs.
It's a little Easter egg.
CW.
So rude.
It's a secret. But yeah, no, that's
I swear that's in front of the diner, or like over there, right over there by the diner.
Or by the lagoon. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's near the lagoon.
Is it?
I think it's
too.
near the lagoon.
Yeah. Because it was darker and more tree-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you talking about over by the diner? I don't know. I think
Tree-y?
I don't know.
Tree-y?
I
More
have
trees?
no idea.
More arbory?
You need more on-set schooling, Andre. more tree.
Sorry, that was like, I don't know.
More studio teachers.
Speaking of studio teachers, I know there was this whole thing at the treehouse with you getting
yeah.
into the treehouse.
Good
Yeah.
story.
So, what? I mean, we get that great little shot of you peeking out of the
Sure.
treehouse. So, but apparently, it wasn't really meant for you guys to go into.
No,
or-
it was just a.
it was just a shell.
a-
Like it was just a.
Yeah, it was just a giant thing up in the tree. I mean, it wasn't like, I don't think it was that sturdy or steady. It wasn't meant to like really have a bunch of people in it.
I don't think it was to code, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Right.
But I mean, it did. They did have the wooden slots going up as a ladder going all the way up to the tree house. And Fred said, we need a shot of you peeking out of the window. And the teacher said, nope, no way, that's stunt work. Like, he's not going up there. Hell no. So they kind of diverted her, like, to do something else. And he said, go, get up, go. And I'm like, oh my God, I just climbed up the tree. And there was a guy up there just sitting in a corner. He's like, hello, how are you? I don't know. I don't remember. Like, hi. I guess maybe he was like a lighting guy or something, but he was also going to hold on to my legs while I
case you
leaned
fell.
out the window. Yeah, exactly. And then they did it really quick. And then they said, okay, come down.
Totally not.
I do
totally
want to
not
just
supposed
say
to do
that because we have Jessica here with us, this is actually not a Warner Brothers picture with all this dangerous grass.
And that didn't happen. That was not on
I
this
just
lot.
want to say that
That was
this
not
is
on this lot.
It was also 30
It was
years
also 30
ago.
years
It was
ago.
also
so I don't
30
think
years
anyone
ago.
that was working here. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Hollywood reporter Fred Decker arrested for child endangerment.
No, it wasn't
There's
really
no
that
statute
bad.
of limitations on that.
Probably, he doesn't actually remember that. So
What are you talking
He doesn't.
about?
No, it could just be one of those memories that like I maybe am exaggerating or something.
that tree out- that
but
was
I do
up in a
remember.
tree
I was in
over
the
water.
treehouse. I knew I wasn't supposed to be up there
Yeah.
because I remember Elise causing a big stink. I do remember that.
Good shot, though.
It is a good shot.
Well worth it.
Totally.
So, and I think
still here.
at the ranch, you said one of your favorite scenes is where Dracula comes in, and that all it
I just yeah.
rips the door off, the car
Just
explodes. But of course, the other really cool thing over there is another thing that two movies share is that this movie written by Shane Black and also Lethal Weapon written
Yeah.
by Shane Black, and that is Danny Glover's house.
Yeah, the Lethal
Right
Weapon is
next
right
door.
behind, just kind of down the road, because
Yeah,
it's on a
like right-
curve.
it's
I
on
feel like the street's
I think
on a
your house
curve.
was right by the curve.
Yeah.
There, and I think his is
It's in the middle of the curve or
it's
something
there,
like that. Yeah.
and then. So I think that's I don't know. It just
That's a good
it was
crossover.
cool, you know.
Yeah.
And then that would be hey, you know.
Well,
I
I've
mean,
always
especially
said
my
dad and his
you know,
partner are just Riggs and Murtaugh
Right.
part, draft.
right?
Draft
yeah.
of Riggs and Murtaugh. So.
You can go down all these streets like at Universal and like
Oh, yeah.
there's the Munsters house right next to the not Brady Bunch house, that was a real house, but you know what I mean. It's like they're all
That's
just like
what's
right
fun.
next to
Yeah.
each
That's
other.
why Jared has a podcast. That's awesome.
It's just like, no, man. It's like, this is. I mean,
Oh
this
wait,
is
is
great.
that what the podcast is about? I'm totally kidding.
Well, it's not about the Goonies. It's not about that.
There's that damn word again. Whatever, dude.
Whoa, look at the time.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know. Where do you guys see your characters 30 years later living? Where would you guys be living? And I mean, I want to bring this back to location. I mean, like where do you guys see yourselves?
where would Rudy be?
living, doing.
Well, man, I don't want to say anything because I have an idea for a sequel.
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't really want to say it, but I have heard people say that obviously he's just like some like dirtbag mechanic in like the back room, like still like just beer drinking and fat and me.
I have a
I have a different idea for where he is, but we'll see if that I can get that onto screen someday.
Cool.
yeah, there's
I don't want to give it away.
I'm a little biased because there is a neat story kind of in a folder. So I always see that, but I think my character Sean is probably still around the area, but also now like the sheriff or like a state investigator or something, because it's kind of following the footsteps. And I don't think Phoebe lives far but she's probably, running a company or like head
I'm
of a department
totally
at
a
college.
female Indiana Jones. I don't know what you're talking about.
Even better. Running your own archaeological company. I like that. That's
And
better.
speaks perfect German.
Perfect German. My German is impeccable.
Yes.
Just in case.
Just in case. Well, yes, just in case. I don't know. I think there's two ways I think like Rudy could go. And then it's always you could almost have like a unlimited parallel dimensions universe show, and it's the same episode, but everybody's completely different, new characters or something. So it's oh wait, I think I just created an idea.
Hey,
that's mine.
And Pee Wee Herman's there too.
Absolutely,
Pee
Pee Wee Herman's.
And
Boss Hog.
Your boss
And Boss Hog.
And
He's
Boss
there
Hog.
too.
Absolutely.
Everybody that's ever
Everybody
shot
that's been
Everybody's
on
ever
this
shot in this
location.
We're going to resurrect the
there.
ghost of James Dean.
Oh yes, he's not dead. He's with Elvis. He's just hanging out somewhere.
do spit takes of like Paul Newman salad dressing instead of.
And I think it's fitting that we're sitting in our town square, Monster Squad town square, that has been town square for a lot of other stuff, and that just kind of makes it. I think that's the best location in Monster Squad. Not only the best reel of the movie is probably the last one when we're the final battle, but it's such an iconic place that a lot of people don't like. We go around the country and talk about Dukes of Hazzard. It's it's the Gilmore, and they're like, oh, I didn't know. Like people don't know,
Right.
And it's really neat to watch their face kind of click, and then they realize.
Cool, guys. Well, I just want to thank you guys for coming to do this today.
Well, thanks for
I
inviting me.
really,
Thanks for having us.
I certainly never thought I'd be sitting here with you guys. Not just talking to you guys, but sitting here. I think it's really special. I also want to thank Warner Brothers Studio Operations.
Yeah, absolutely.
For helping put this together. This is like a really special thing that not everybody gets to do, and I really consider it a privilege. And I also want to say to everybody out there that if you live in LA or you're visiting LA, you really should come and take the tour here because it's really incredible. And based on what's going on here on the lot, it changes every day because you might see one thing one day, another thing another day. So definitely come check it out. You can go to the website and book tickets, wbstudiotour.com. And if you like this podcast, I hope you'll share it, and you can visit us on Facebook at On Location with Jared Cowan and on Twitter at On Location PC. And thanks for joining us on location. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us. It's great.